have to click Simulate Fluid Mapping, and after this we'll go to the Rendering tab, and under Map Source we'll click to Fluid Mapping, and here on the map setting we'll choose a noise. Okay. Then we open up the material editor, and okay, we drag the noise here, we make an instance, and now we're gonna change the type to fractal and use 12 for the size, and we're gonna change the low value to 0.5. Yes, that's okay. Let's make another simulation now. Oops. I forgot to change my spacing back to a decent value, so we have to wait a bit just to stop the simulation, and let me turn it back to 1. Okay, let's resize this panel here. Okay, and run the simulation again. Let's stop it and make a test render. As you can see, the result is a lot better. Or if you don't remember what was the last frame without the fluid mapping, let me turn it off and make another render. So check this out. If we bring it over here, as you can see, there's quite the difference. The fluid mapping render looks a lot nicer and with a lot more detail, and as well the render time is quite the same. So what we're gonna do now is, let me change the smoke color to a little bit of purplish, about this, and let's take a render. I guess we can reduce the opacity a little bit more and introduce a little bit more of the fluid mapping. Let's make another render. In my opinion, this looks pretty decent, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna reduce the spacing to about 0.3 and make a render. I've already simulated our smoke, so let's render out our scene. Let's go to rendering, render setup. Then in the common parameters, I'm gonna use active time segment 0 to 150. For resolution, I'm gonna use 800 by 600, and then I'm gonna take save file and gonna name our text 000, and as a file type I'm using PNG sequence. Click save. Then we need to tell Max to separate our scene into passes. So let's go to render elements and click on the add button. Then I'm gonna select diffuse, film effects, smoke, and shadow. Click OK. If we click on diffuse, and down there there is an option, diffuse texture element, which says lighting. So it renders out our diffuse path with the lighting included. So make sure you have this option enabled. And that's it. Let's hit render. Here we are in After Effects. I have already imported our footage. So let's drag our diffuse layer into a new comp, then our shadow, and our smoke on top. I'm gonna rename our layers to smoke, shadow, and diffuse. Then what we need to do is change the transfer mode from the smoke to add. There we have it. And what you might notice is that our smoke is a little bit different from what we saw in the 3D Studio Max render panel. And if we change to alpha here, you can see that there is a lot more smoke in the alpha channel than what's in the RGB channel. So a solution for this is to add a curves effect to our smoke layer, then change the channel to alpha and push it a bit, and now we brought in our detail back. If we disable the curves effect, you'll notice that's quite a difference. Okay, I'm here at about 2 seconds. I'm gonna select our diffuse layer, press Alt and the left bracket key, then go to about 4 seconds and 10 frames, press Alt and the right bracket key so we cut our diffuse layer, and then at the start we have only our smoke, then our diffuse, and then again only our smoke. And that's it. Well, you might ask, why did we export our scene into different passes and brought them into After Effects? Well, the main reason behind that is that, let's for example say that you have a project for a client and he says, okay, that's a cool scene, I like it, still could you change the colors maybe to green or orange and show me some different styles of the project? And what you need to do is go back into 3D Studio Max, change the colors and re-render the scene, and that's not quite convenient in rendering time. Let's for example say that you're working with full HD resolution or even higher. That's gonna take a few hours to render out uh, a decent scene. So the solution is to take it to a compositing application, and then you can change the colors, the saturation, the opacity, everything you need, and that's it. Let's for example, I'm gonna show you. Well, we have our curves selected. Let me change it. Apply to the diffuse layer, and if we select the red channel and push it a bit, and then yep, introduce a little bit of green and change our blue, push the red, and then we can Control C the curves and Control V to paste it. I'm gonna only introduce a little bit of the alpha again, and there we have it. We have a nice orange scene for seconds. Let me just reset everything. I'm gonna delete the curves for diffuse layer. Then I'm gonna bring our alpha back a bit, and now let's make a run preview and see what it looks like. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.